Good evening, I'm Mark Beisel.
And I'm Max Goldman.
We're here tonight on beautiful Neck Point on Vancouver Island to discuss the British Columbia's intertidal zone.
We will also talk about the sea stars, their biology, and life history, as well as the role they play in the ecosystem here.
The starfish of British Columbia have been going through a problem in the last year called starfish wasting disease. We're going to discuss how this affects the starfish, as well as how the starfish's disappearance will affect the ecosystem as a whole.
Let's go see if we can find some sea stars. The intertidal zone is the area where the land meets the ocean. And as you can imagine, it is the area between the high tide and low tide mark. It is a very, very difficult place to live. That was good.
The intertidal zone gets flooded 1 to 2 times daily. The movement of the tides affects temperature, salinity, moisture, pH level, dissolved oxygen, food supply, and predation.
The bands visible behind me are all smaller sections of the intertidal zone definable by the species present. For example, the superlittoral zone, or the uppermost zone, is characterized by the presence of black algae and coralline algae. In BC's mid-littoral zone, Pisaster, or purple starfish, acts as a keystone species and controls the abundance of sessile mussels that would otherwise colonize this entire area.
Interestingly, however, mussels of the Pacific Northwest have developed an adaptation that allows the species to survive above the range of the purple sea star. The mussels have the ability to close up tight while retaining seawater until the tide rising again, just like this one right here. This allows them to be out of water longer when there's a low tide. This distances them from the range of the predatory sea star, which needs to stay underwater to walk.
Sea stars belong to the family Echinodermata, along with sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and sand dollars. Echino is Latin for spiny, and derm for skin. Therefore, Echinodermata can be characterized by having spiny skin.
Go.
They will also possess 5-point radial symmetry and are invertebrates.
Sea stars are ferocious predators. They feed on anything they can find, including dead fish, bivalves, gastropods, even other stars. Starfish have what researchers call a water vascular system. What it does is it's a system where they use water to do everything that they need, including breathing, feeding, and walking. If you come take a look at this star here, you'll actually be able to see it. We found this small purple sea star here on the rocks. If I flip them upside down, you can see all these tube feet. The water vascular system uses hydraulic water pressure in order to move all these tube feet. They are small projections of tissue. These tube feet can become very strong and allow the sea star to grip onto prey and rocks alike. The hydraulic system that moves the tube feet of the sea star is controlled by the madreporite. This is a porous calcareous plate on the arboreal surface of the disc that periodically takes in water to replenish the water vascular system. The grooves in the madreporite catch and prevent large particles from entering, while cilia pick up the smaller particles and flush them away back into the ocean. Once water has entered the sea star, it flows through the radial canal into the lateral branches that connect the tube feet within each arm. For movement of the tube feet to occur, it has a valve, or an ampulla, that creates pressure. When the ampulla is closed, the tube feet extends, and when it is opened, the pressure is released to withdraw the tube. In order to begin digestion, sea stars will actually push their stomachs out of their bodies through there and begin consuming their prey, sometimes even while they're still alive. Internally, sea stars have an organ that extends into each arm and secretes digestive juices. These also store digested food. These parts are called pyloric caecae.
Sea stars have the unique ability to regenerate limbs or parts of their body. While it may take up to a year for a limb to grow back, sea stars are one of the few organisms in the animal kingdom that can accomplish this feat. On rare occasions, an entire body can be regrown from just one limb. Sea stars are dioecious. This means that their species have both males and females, and each arm contains two gonads. Sea stars are as well broadcast spawners. This means that they cast their gametes into the water column. All fertilization happens strictly by chance. Now once fertilized, the larvae are susceptible to predators because they're just floating around in the water. This is something that accounts to such a high predation rate on the sea stars. Now sea stars do not actually have a brain, but they do have a nerve ring around the central disc of their symmetry. At the end of each arm, a light-sensitive eye spot is present. Some sea stars are attracted to light, while others attempt to avoid light at all costs. Sea stars also contain a high concentration of neurosensory cells in their tube feet.
These are used to sense touch and chemical as taste. Pycnopodia helianthoides. The root words in Latin meaning pycna means thick and podia means foot. Helia for sun and thoides for flower. That makes the species name thick-footed sunflower. The sunflower star is among the largest and fastest moving stars in the world. They can grow to become as large as 1 meter across.
They are voracious predators with a diet of mussels, clams, snails, and even other sea stars. They have over 25 limbs with around 15,000 tube feet and can move up to 1 meter a minute while hunting. In 2010, they had a massive population spike. However, in the summer of 2013, they started disappearing altogether, with observations pointing towards a sea star wasting disease.
Pisaster ochriacus, our friend the purple starfish over there, is also showing symptoms to the starfish wasting syndrome. However, unlike the sunflower star, are still surviving and thriving within the intertidal zone. According to a study at the University of California in Santa Cruz, the starfish wasting disease has been broken down into 4 categories of symptoms.
Category 1. A single white lesion appears on the arboreal side of the sea stars. However, this is not to get confused with the madreporite, an important part of the starfish's water vascular system.
In Category 2, multiple lesions appear on the body. As well, the arms start to slowly deteriorate. On this photo, you can clearly see the tissue deteriorating and an arm starting to separate from the body.
In Category 3, lesions appear in most of the body, and parts of or entire limbs will start to fall off.
In Category 4, there are several deteriorations to the body. As the body deteriorates further and the tissue becomes soft, the starfish can no longer hold on to water. This is vital importance for the water vascular system. Now, without being able to move or hunt, the starfish simply wastes away. In turn, this is how the wasting disease got its name.
Dr. Marilev says his first observation of the epidemic was on September 1st, 2013. By September 10th, just 10 days from the first observation, millions were documented as dead.
Areas where divers knew walls of Pycnopodia lived were now barren with just mush from the sea stars left over.
This map shows areas containing infected starfish, as documented by rocky intertidal users since 2014. The orange markers represent observations in the past year, red markers represent high infection areas, and blue markers represent areas that are showing no new signs of the infection.
Because Pisaster and Pycnopodia are such ferocious predators, they are a keystone species within the intertidal zone.
The Pacific Northwest is world-renowned for its rocky intertidal zone, and the Pisaster and Pycnopodias are major contributors in maintaining the biodiversity in that zone.
There are several speculations on what has caused the wasting syndrome in the local starfish. It could be viral, could be bacterial, could be caused by ocean acidification. Either way, there is one noted connection.
The disease travels with rising water temperatures. One guess has to do with climate change. The occurrence of marine diseases has shown a direct correlation with increasing water temperatures, as a constant rise in the ocean temperature creates a perfect environment for bacteria to grow.
It is also known that ocean acidification is increasing due to the rising climate. A non-temperature related thought is overpopulation. This could be a regulatory response brought on by a population spike. To conclude our video, we would like to mention an article released on CBC News on November 18th. This is at the very time that we are in the process of filming this project.
A study was published earlier this month from the National Academy of Science that says they've isolated the virus as causing the wasting syndrome in Pycnopodias and Pisasters. The virus is a variety of the densovirus.
Researchers say they found large amounts of the densovirus in the remnants of 6 sea stars. They also found small remnants in the healthier ones. The amount of virus increased as the disease progressed in the sea stars.
They believe the sea stars got the disease from injecting material from 6 stars, either through eating or small particles entering the water vascular system.
This hypothesis came from the fact that the aquarium workers were seeing isolated starfish living in aquariums get the disease. These aquariums all drew water from the ocean. Starfish living in aquariums that had ultraviolet light clean the seawater as it came in did not get sick. Ultraviolet light is known to kill the denzovirus.
This virus is not new. It has been known to exist since 1942. It can be found in planktons, sandy ocean bottoms, and sea urchins. Experts are standing strong on the belief that this virus has adapted because of starfish population boom in one of the species that have been heavily infected by the disease. As well, changes in the environment assisted in the virus to change and become able to destroy the sea star.
The most heavily infected species are members of the same family. This is suggesting that they all share a common vulnerability.